Good morning, traders. It is Monday, March 25th, quarter to 6 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators, reminding you, as always, to please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and leave us some feedback. Give us your comments and any tickers you'd like us to look at, charts you'd like us to analyze, anything like that at all, anything we can do to help with your trading. Let us know, give us that feedback, and we will gladly see what we can do to help you out. All right, let's start by taking a look at the S&P 500, which, as you probably are aware, had a big pullback on Friday. Friday was a very down day, and I've been watching for this, waiting for this. There was a clear bearish divergent oscillator going on here. Oscillator getting weaker and weaker and weaker as price was just getting stronger and higher and higher. And we needed a pullback. Now, the question at the moment is this going to be a more significant correction? Are we going to take out this higher low here? Or are we going to make a higher low and then be able to launch higher? We will have to wait and see. Right this instant anyway, the way I'm interpreting this price action is this huge up day here was a stop run. There were people who had gone short and had put their stops just outside the previous triple top areas here. And so they put their stops anywhere up in here outside this range here. And of course, when those stops get triggered, they're short stops. So that means they're buy orders to close, and buying orders would cause sudden upwards pressure. But then that's it. There was nobody else who really wanted to buy at that level, at which point price could only come down. So the issue here is that it has come down to this trend line and pierced below it, but then bounced right back up above it. So what we're really going to watch for today in the price action for the morning session when it opens in about 45 minutes is going to be, do we break lower? You can see on the 60-minute chart here, we had higher highs and higher lows, and then here we had a failure to make a higher high, and then we broke the higher low. So we certainly have gone to a downtrend on the shorter term 60-minute time frame. We even took out this more significant higher low here. And right now, kind of bouncing up above. If this holds as a resistance area, then I would expect continuation to the downside. Of course, that will be confirmed when it takes out this level here, this higher low here. Right now on the 60-minute, clearly the bears are in control, but they're kind of losing that control. The oscillator is trending upwards, moving towards the zero line. So their control is weakening, but that is also normal when you have a bounce. You have a lower low, and then it's forming the lower high. The oscillator will go up, but then it can just come right back around again. So we'll really have to wait and see what happens. Do we break below this trend line here and continue lower? Do we take out this low and really correct? In which case, we're looking for something in the realm of here, 38.2 to 61.8. We're looking for something around there, which would take us just below that low there. So if it breaks that low, that's definitely what I'm looking for, is for price to retreat to somewhere in that level. Now, I can go lower, but there's a 70% probability that it will land somewhere in that area there. So we play the probabilities until we're shown otherwise. So the uptrend is still intact. Technically speaking, we still have higher high, higher low, higher high, and at the moment we have a higher low. So right now, anyhow, the uptrend is still intact. There has been no confirmation to the downside, but I do see that weakening oscillator. And also, just for fun, if we were to take a look at a weekly chart, just a bigger time frame, to see what we have here, you can see here that the oscillator did get over the zero line, all right, a few weeks back, about a month ago or so, but it has not gone raging to the upside or anything. Right now we have broken down below that trend line on the weekly, and are continuing, or rather at the moment are holding below it, kind of testing it as resistance. So we'll have to see what the market wants to give us. But right now, anyway, it's looking like we're going to want to have a bit more of a correction. We'll just have to wait and see about that. Crude oil is still hanging on to this trend line, but it has pierced below it for 2 sessions now, and is kind of testing it as resistance at the moment. So it's looking like it's possible the correction is going to be in order. Right now on the 60-minute, you can see here we had the higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we broke this higher low. But we did then bounce back up above it again. So right now we're in just kind of a delicate congestion area. It's just kind of in this range here. And the oscillator shows that the bears are in control. We are below the zero line and have been holding below the zero line for a while in the 60-minute chart. However, the MACD line has crossed the signal line to the upside, so that is potentially bullish. The trend right now has gone sideways on the 60 minutes, so it's kind of hanging in there. But if it breaks this low here, then certainly it's going to continue lower, and we're going to have a proper correction on our hands here. Oscillator has also been getting a little bit weaker here. Nothing tragic. It's not huge or massive or anything, but it has been getting a bit weaker or just holding steady here at this level here, kind of held about the same, while price was definitely moving up. So that is also kind of a weak sign. It's not really a major divergence or anything, but it is just a sign of a little bit of weakness below the surface. So I do think it's reasonable that this trend pulls back, forms a higher low, and then keeps on going. Or maybe we even get a bigger correction. If we're able to jump below this zone, get below this low here, then we could see continuation to the downside as well to challenge this higher low here. But we'll have to see what the market does right now. At the moment, it's just testing this as resistance. If it can climb up above that, take out this high, then the uptrend is just still going to continue. It's still intact. All right, taking a look at gold. Well, gold is really hanging in there. I talked about before how this is kind of looking like a flag pattern, and it still is. That is still intact. We have not decidedly broken one way or the other right now. However, the MACD line crossed the signal line back here. The oscillator is about to challenge the zero line. It's at -1 right now, so it's very, very close to challenging that zero line. And the MACD line has also crossed the zero line. So there's a lot of underlying signs that are showing bullishness. We'll have to see if that actually happens, if we get that continuation, if this can break out higher. If it can challenge and get over this high here, then there's no question the trend is up. This pullback is done, and we are continuing to the upside. So watch out for that. On the 60-minute, you can see this trend line has been holding really nicely. Every pullback to it has been a potential buying opportunity. You got a little bit challenged here on this one because it did pull down below the trend line, but you can see that nice long wick there. It shot right back up again and then hopped over, and then we had a huge move to the upside. So the uptrend is certainly intact, no question about it. However, right now, look what's going on. We are just about at double top territory here. And threatening to touch it right now. But look at the oscillator. Look how much weaker that oscillator level is here than here. Okay, so price is making a similar high, or maybe even a higher high if it breaks higher, but the oscillator is so much weaker that it's not looking like this is going to hold for terribly long. So on a 60-minute basis, I'm expecting to see a bit of a pullback sometime fairly soon. On a daily basis, however, will that translate into a continuation of the bears being in control here? And then maybe, as this is indicating here, maybe break this flag level, and then we have an extension from here to here. We can plot that and expect to get down somewhere in this 100% area here is about what I'd be looking for. So possible continuation target for gold here. We might have a nice continuation trade if we can just break out of this flag pattern to the downside. All right, natural gas, it has broken down a little bit, but really it's pretty much just still sideways. It's stuck really in this big blue congestion area from the past that I had highlighted quite some time back. And price has, sure enough, just been completely stuck in that area. Right now it has pulled back, but we have just no momentum. All right, I talked about this on Friday. I've talked about it before. There's just no real excitement in this market. There's no real trend. It's just kind of aimless and wandering. But the bulls right now are just barely hanging on to control. They are in charge. The oscillator tells us that. but they don't have a strong grip, right? They're just barely hanging on, 0.04. We are barely above this zero line here. So natural gas is looking a little weak for sure. Right now, price has kind of broken down. You can see it on the shorter term time frame and is making new lows. So on the 60-minute time frame, we are heading down, and the next area to watch for a significant challenge would be, in fact, this low down here. There are some minor ones here as well, little areas, but that's the big one. That's the big area to watch out for. Can it break all the way down to there and drop from 2.7 or so to 2.6? We'll have to see, but it is certainly looking weak. The oscillator, even on the 60-minute, not doing a whole heck of a lot, just kind of bouncing around, very range bound, very sideways. There's just not a lot going on in this market right now. So something is going to need to happen to excite buyers or sellers and get them to really start pushing on this to get any kind of real momentum. We've got just no candle sizes here. These candles are all so small compared to what can happen. I mean, we've seen what happens in natural gas during a volatile period when the market gets crazy. It can get really crazy. You get some huge swings, huge moves. But there's no question this trend is just kind of sideways to ever so slightly down, but not much. On the 60, however, definitely down. No question. We're setting lower lows, lower highs. We broke the previous higher low and are heading downwards. So right now, anyway, the direction to be going is to the downside, and you could maybe add a trend line, something like this, perhaps, and just trade accordingly. If price breaks above that, then I would argue that the trend has decidedly reversed. Right now, though, this is the trend to the downside, and you just kind of have to go with that direction. All right, let's wrap up with Bitcoin. Not that there's a whole lot to say. Also, much like natural gas, Bitcoin, just no momentum, just a little tiny oscillator. Nobody's really firmly in control. The bulls right now are in control. There's this, kind of drifting trend here to the upside, but there's just no real conviction, no real excitement in this market right now, which is actually, believe it or not, a potentially bullish sign. If the sellers aren't excited to keep just driving price lower as they have been for, they were for the last year, then, we might be seeing a bottom here. The trend right now has kind of turned up. It came sharply down and then flattened out and now has come back up again. So this could be a gigantic bottoming formation going on, but we won't know that really till we get over this level. We've got to climb over that 44.15 level. I keep saying that. I feel like a broken record over and over again. I'm just saying the same thing, but that's the level we're looking for. Otherwise, we're just stuck in this range. There's nothing really going on. So either sellers need to step up and drive the price below here, or buyers need to step up and drive the price above here. Those are the two things that we're looking for. On the 60-minute, you can see that this trend line here has been holding nicely, and price is just doing higher highs and higher lows. But it then set this higher high there, and then this higher low here. It has not yet been able to get over that higher high. So right now, we're just kind of stuck between those two levels, just doing our little stair-step thing on a smaller scale, smaller time scale. But this trend line has been working nicely until very recently, just in the last number of hours since yesterday, basically. This trend has kind of broken through that trend line, and at the moment, it looks like it's holding below it. You can see it better if I zoom in, and the trend has kind of turned around a little bit, and it's sort of heading downwards. So it looks a little weak. Again, it's nothing tragic, but the bulls tried to push up over the zero line with the oscillator, couldn't really do it. So will they be able to take another stab and go for it and push it up with some conviction? Well, that's what we're going to have to wait for and see. But right now, there's just not really any conviction going on in this market. So we still get these sudden, quick, crazy shock moves that happen a lot in Bitcoin. But they are difficult to rely upon because you don't really see them coming. They just sort of come out of nowhere and are over very fast. So you either can catch them or they can burn you pretty decently. So right now, Bitcoin, tough market to trade. It's just stuck in this area. There's no really clear-cut trend. So trade cautiously for sure. All right, back to the ES. One last quick look before we get going here. And the market is trying to push up higher. We'll have to see what happens at the opening bell in 30 minutes. So for now, I'm going to call this my morning analysis. I'm going to get ready for our premium chat room with all the folks who will be in there. So I will look forward to seeing you all there, those of you who are in that. And as always, please do subscribe. If you'd like to give us any tickers and symbols and things. I see you this morning, Ken. Hi, Ken. Good to see you. I see you asked me to take a look at oil, which I did do. So hopefully I gave you something you could use there, some levels to watch for. But yeah, definitely let me know anything else that anybody would like me to take a look at. I will be happy to do that and do what I can to help you out. All right, I got to call it and go get ready for the other room. So until Wednesday morning when I do this again, trade well. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.